All right, good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital, nightly strategy podcast for December 18th, 2023. So I've got the 4 hours of video from this weekend uploaded um, in the Research 2023 from Sunal and Jeff. Just amazing presentations. My estimate of the value of those two briefings is measured in millions in terms of the value of what you can do with the information that's in there. If you listen carefully, there's a couple $1 million ideas in there. Plus, an amazing opportunity to start working with Sunal as a trained hypnotherapist from the UK. She's worked on that over the last year, and she is an amazing coach. I am her first client. That's how good she is. All right, we're going to start with Alcoa. 30-minute charts, hybrid swing. This was that big run up last week from the Fed, and then the closeout on Friday that was sideways. And today it gapped up a little bit and rolled over, so I tried the short and scratched. There was everybody was watching U.S. Steel today. That one has national security implications. Senator Fetterman's says he's going to try and block the sale. Japanese National Steel wants to buy them. So that's going to be pretty darn interesting. This is artificial intelligence, AI. Here's the rollover. This is the second rollover. That makes it a Kata 2, kind of a collapsing dragon. It gave a little bit of traction, but basically scratched for the day and finished quietly. Amazon was an emerging dragon for 3R. Standard exit near the close at the edge of the dragon. Caterpillar, no trade, setting up nicely for a zero state breakout. Cliff, this moved up also in tandem with U.S. Steel. There was a little more movement on this one than there was in U.S. Steel. We're going to see U.S. Steel was a big gap up and then just a sideways move. Hard to trade it. This one actually, I think, gapped up on sympathy, and then there was some surprise buying pressure, and then on that sharp reversal, I cashed it before it got to the VWAP, so we ended up with about 2R. Steel will be in play tomorrow. CVS, this was a Kata 2 re-entry after Friday's nice little gain. This earned an R in the usual way after the rollover, taking the exit at the combination of the VWAP and the Dragon. Disney. Tried a Kata 2 short and scratched. Dish, no trade. Devon Energy. I closed the long from Friday. And there was a nice gap up and then a couple dragon horns, and I took them halfway down this bar at the VWAP, and that was a 4-hour trade. Starting to show some weakness at the end of a nice run, so that I think is in play for tomorrow. Electronic Arts, the Friday collapsing dragon, which closed here, there was a micro gap up and then just continued its slide, so we're going to stay with that one. With about almost 6R in hand, and that's as orderly as you could like. That has a lot of room to get down to 135 before the next test. So I like this one. What you're going to notice here, of course, is that this price level used to be the normal. Then there was a gap up, and then this long, strong move, which peaked. It has rolled all the way back to that original gap and go. So that puts this at a test tomorrow. And if there's no support at all, then this thing drops back into this trading range pretty easily. So there's another big chunk of downward price targets tomorrow. So with 6R in hand, that was a nice cushion to try to take advantage of a gap. But you got to recognize that everybody that bought that thing on the way up, starting from here, they're all looking at all that price just evaporating. So there could be some panic selling in the morning, which would lead to a big gap down, which is why I'm holding that position overnight. Emerging markets, no trade. Ethereum, I initiated the SSC. This is the same price level that it fired back here and gave a nice run up to 1950. I like the way it followed through, so I'm just going to hold that. Mexico, big gap down, and then it held support along this rising Bollinger Band mean. And I bought it where you would exit the short. If you had been short from up in here, the place where you exit is at the edge of the dragon. So it sells off and then comes back. You would cover your short at the edge of the dragon. So I entered at the edge of the dragon on a 1, 2, 3 entry and the R10 moving in my favor. This was influenced by Jeff Boccaccio's presentation on the modified Williams percent R that he briefed yesterday. It was amazing. I said that one was $1 million idea. It might be a $10 million idea, to be honest. Brazil caught a 2 re-entry after the brief short, and this closed pretty well. We're holding almost 3R. I'm liking that. Intel tried the PSAR flip short. It was south of the dragon and starting to show weakness, but ended up losing half an R on that. It never really failed. IP tried the caught a 2 long. It failed. I took a 1R loss. That was a stop and reverse, kind of a revenge trade that earned 2R. I'm going to hold that one because none of this previous price action over here, that's not support until we get down to here. So this could very easily slide to 36 even. And because we're holding 3R, and this was a -1, so that's a 2R net. I've got a little bit of a cushion, and I wanted to have some overnight positions on the short side in case of surprise gaps. IYR no trade. That's as tight a Z3 pinch as you could want, so we'll be setting up the Z3 pinch and on that one tomorrow. Coca-Cola tried the this is the SSC, and we took our exit right in here just before it hit the edge of the dragon for an R. Regional banks, I'm short that position. I'm not really happy with that decision. I think I should have cashed it. It showed no evidence of failing. The only thing I could say was that it's had 4 days to make some follow-through gains from the day of the Fed, and it didn't. And so the absence of gains, I wanted to be exposed a little bit there. Mattel, 1R on a COTA 2. McDonald's, 1R on a COTA 2. Merck, 1R on a COTA 2. That was in the M's. That's what it was today. McDonald's, tech leadership, after that sell-off during Fed week, showed a little bit of strength Friday, and it continued today, so speculated in. Holding an R overnight. I like it on the long side. Marijuana, this is a 1, 2, 3 short midday. It closed poorly, which is good for us, and that's holding 3R and looking for a gap down tomorrow. NVIDIA, the tech leader, it lagged a little bit last week, I felt, and this is a merging dragon and holding 2R overnight. Clean Energy took 1R intraday the usual way. Rivian took 2R intraday in the usual way. The S&P showed a little bit of signs of strength, but still not very persuasive. The fact that it didn't fail is good. It's holding on to those gains from last week, and that could be a nice platform to continue. But on the other hand, a violation below 471, and then you would start seeing people protecting capital. And the real test would be if it sold off below 469. That's where the real test would be to the downside. So I would tactically be short one at 471 and two at 469. And then if that sells off, 465 is in range. Treasuries just consolidated, super tight. Tesla took 1R out on a failure to follow through. Walmart, this resumption of last week's big mover, that's a nice consolidation zone here in between the trades. And then, as I said over Friday, I would been really tempted to take that one long, but I was ready for that one to follow through and that I would jump on it today. So as soon as it broke up, I got the first position in to no lose. 3R battle drill added a second position, closed very well, and we're holding almost 6R on that one. And then if it breaks above the 10-day high, look out above. But it has a long way to go to get back to the 30-day high after that harsh sell-off from earnings. So this is the recovery for the holiday sales. I think the reasonable target upside is 159. Then that's the next significant test. So we'll see what we get tomorrow. And then U.S. Steel just thanks Japan. And I'm pretty grateful that this was that's so squished you can't even see that. The Friday trade was a long that didn't follow through, and so I didn't want to have overnight exposure, so we got out there and then missed the 26% gain today. So that big gap up, all it really did was just stay there in a state of shock as the politicians and start lining up for the politics of this thing. Going to be a very volatile symbol. It'll be an interesting socio-political play. Shareholders are pretty happy. All right, let's take a look at the sniper trades. The fuck. All right, here's the sniper trade of the day in Mexico. This great big gap up started selling off. When it crossed the Bollinger Band main and hit the PSAR dot, I hybrid frog entered it. It continued to sell off nicely. I took the 1, 2, 3 exit and the PSAR flip exit, stopped and reversed, and played just a single position for about 7R that way. That's about a 9R day in Mexico. That's why it's one of my 5 favorite symbols. I'm always ready to trade it every day on 3-minute and 30-minute and on swing trades. This is the sniper trade of the day for Walmart. This was a 1, 2, 3 entry in the morning. Standard risk box. Standard exit on the peak of the RL10, exiting at the skin of the dragon for about 2R. It's stabilized, never threatened the Bollinger Band mean. You get the RLXD on a very quiet move. It's slanting up. Why not re-enter? That's a kata 2. Breaks through the PSAR. I'm feeling good. Gives me a second leg up. It peaks. I take the PSAR exit for another 2R, so that's 3R in Walmart in the usual way. Very relaxed trade. And that paid for the overnight risk on the 2 positions that we held in the swing. So this was going on the 3-minute chart, while on the 5-minute chart, or I'm sorry, on the 3-minute chart, we were looking at the swing. All right, let's take a look at the traders. Hamad, micro loss here. There wasn't much happening in the Euro Kiwi. He does grind nicely for 1.6R on Amazon, gets it in the right direction, misses the early move, but does pick it up on the second wave up, but missed the sweet spot here. The difference between this one and the one I showed you on Mexico with the early entry is just the difference in specializing. I specialize in Mexico EWW, so I'm always ready to trade it in the first 3 minutes of the day in either direction, regardless of what else the market is doing in any other sector or index. EWW on its own is a tradable, standalone, preferred target of mine. All the time, every day, both directions. In Devon, he gets caught up here in the grind too much. This was, that's minus 1.2 right here after a fairly good morning. I think the grind was not indicated. I mean, these are long efforts while you've got the VWAP up here, which is showing the way downward. So that chop is not really persuasive to me. And there was, even on these places where there was a little bit of a gain, that's not much follow through to get back to the VWAP, especially with only this much left in the day. Better job on Tesla, catching the early morning and then staying out of the chop. This one is different because that's in the direction of the primary move of the day, so that's a legitimate effort to take some sharp shooting. George, the early move in Cat ends up being a scratch, reasonable decision, and is able to find Alcoa early on the strength in metals, and then does a great job of cashing the gain. You had a real strong indication that this is completing the cup, and as this starts rolling up, you immediately look over here and say, I think it could get to these 2 peaks of the RL10, sure enough, to the penny, and then you do a great job of cashing them while you got them instead of waiting for it to come all the way back to the VWAP. And then nice job staying with EWZ on the grind. This one was an opportunity for a second position on a 2R battle drill, but I think you did a great job capturing 3 on that one. And Kevin missing the SSC, but is able to get the Kata 2 well into the day up here for another 1R. So I think pretty good day at work. We want to have these as alerts so that you can start taking advantage of those moves. The big gap up and the harsh sell-off should have been the trigger that gets you. But I have EWW on my screen all the time anyway. I'm always ready to trade that one. All right, let's shift to the daily report. Here's the 150-day look back, holding really well at the top of the 10-day, 30-day, and 150-day look back. There's no resistance overhead whatsoever. So if it breaks above this 10-day and 30-day and 150-day high, then the run to the all-time high at 481. There's no impediment to that except fear of heights. Today was a vote up, and you can see on the 30-minute chart that it held above the dragon all day. We've got about 13 dots of PSAR support. Stabilized Bollinger Band mean, that's the pause that refreshes. We're going to find out tomorrow what kind of legs this has. Bullish normal, overbought in every direction. Volatility is favorable for swings, still above the zero line. Breakouts in JP Morgan and Cisco. A handful of symbols that got punished last week in the healthcare sector: Pfizer, Procter, and United Health. And those were percent winners today on some gains, buying value on sale, I think. Big breakouts in Mexico, Latin America, the Qs, metals and mining, obviously going to be huge. Nothing really interesting in the auto framer, just a bunch of defensive plays, and maybe the healthcare if you're looking for, value plays. I still kind of like McDonald's as a value play. This is favorable in terms of squeezes for diamonds, mid caps, real estate, and the small caps. That's really favorable for the long side, by the way. There was no negative volatility on any of those. And the strength all year from tech has kind of migrated now over into the small caps, which are starting to outperform. Dominated by the summer, just about everywhere you look. Wide-ranging strength in some non-tech names. You got U.S. Steel, Cliff, Morgan, Procter, Pfizer. A couple tech names, Oracle and Microsoft, sort of the traditional tech leaders. So that's healthy. And that's everything we got for today. We'll get this published and posted. The hard copy book's out there on Amazon now. We're getting ready to start recording the audio book. I will be adding Bill Scheitz and mine drumming meditation album that we did a couple years ago. I'm adding that to the Foundations course and adding that to the Research 2023 course. That's 10 original soundtracks with 10 different African-style rhythms that Bill wrote for that album. Each are between 5 and 10 minutes long. They make great meditations. 5 of these songs are just drum rhythms that you can play along with for focus. And 5 of them are drum rhythms that, with me doing some almost mantra-like meditation speeches. He took some of my best lessons and then put them to music and did a really nice job with it. So we've added that album to the Foundations course and the Research 2023 course, as if you needed more reason to get the Research course. Literally, 2 multi-million-dollar ideas discussed at great length yesterday. It's worth by far the price of tuition on those. I can't say that enough. And in the moment, I said, "Hey, that was from Jeff's presentation alone." I said that was worth all of the pain and suffering I went through setting up that program. Was to be able to sit in there and have the insights that I did. Made it completely worthwhile for me. And I encourage you to consider that. All right, take good care, and we shall see you tomorrow.